Remember when I said sometimes you have to go backwards in order to move forward? Well, today that's what we're going to discuss in this video about the changes that I'm making in my life to make things easier, even though it will be harder. Stick around. Let's get into it.
All I need are some tasty waves, cool buzz, and I'm fine.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Rad, back with another video. And as I said in the little intro, sometimes we have to go backwards in order to move forward in life. And this is kind of like a part 2 to last week's video, or I'll put the thumbnail over here so you guys can see that. And then that was even kind of piggybacking off the one a couple weeks ago regarding the death of monoculture. And this particular one comes down to the dreaded cell phones. Now, this right here. So we were around, Gen X was around before cell phones were invented. And then we were around when they were in a big old brick, and your mom would carry them around in the car to feel special, to the first Motorola flip phone that I was able to get with the long antenna that you'd pull out, and then into the phones that we have today. Now, I am also frugal, so this particular phone is a Samsung S21, I believe. I think it's 4 or 5 years old, and I just refused to upgrade. It's paid for. I've been on Mint Mobile now for about 3 years or 2 years, something like that, to where when you have a phone that's paid for and broken, you know, or they break it, you can sign up for pretty cheap. But if you think about all the things that our cell phone has on it, and they're convenient, but because of those conveniences, it causes you to be on your phone a lot. Now, I have been monitoring my screen time. I took some screenshots yesterday. Normally on Sundays, I get a little notification regarding the usage that I've had, and it kind of breaks it down, and I'll pop them on the screen. And so for a 1 week period, I was on my phone only an hour and 54 minutes per day. And now that includes being on apps and being on the phone also. And so it's not just, staring at the phone. So it's YouTube Studio, which I've been, and that's mainly the apps that I've been on. And then my messages and my Brave, which is what my search engine is. So it says that I'm averaging a lot less per week than I used to. So it's going down. But what do we have? What do we have on our phones that we're always using? And it's the calendar. So if you recall, this was what we used to use, right? A calendar. Now, this is just one that we happen to have that I've got the last 2 months that I'm going to wind up filling up on here to stay away from doing them on my phone. And I found one on Amazon to make a new one for 2026, to where you're supposedly able to upload your own photos. And I'm hopefully, without copyright issues, I'm going to be able to do 12 of my favorite movies from the 80s, you know, Back to the Future and Indiana Jones and Highlander, and have all of those on a calendar that I'll have up here in my office that I'll be able to monitor and fill out, put people's birthdays and stuff like that. Again, keeping myself off the phone. And then, if you noticed, I got myself a home phone. Now, this is a internet phone through Spectrum. Now, see if you can see it back here. I had originally bought this one, which is pretty kick-ass. This is from the 1980s. It's an answering machine with the, where's it at here? The full cassette that you would be able to put in there in a wood grain, beautiful wood grain. And is brand new in the box, you know, dead new stock, which was pretty cool. And I found this little box on Amazon that you're supposedly supposed to be able to hook up to it and use a digital landline and be able to get it through your internet phone. Well, that didn't work. The phone, I think, is a little broke. It's got a crazy tone when you have it. So I took my other phone that I have hooked up to my cell 2 jack, which I know works. I plugged it in through that little box, and it did not work. So I had to go get myself a new digital phone from Amazon. So I found a cool one with a little bit of wood grain. I wish the backs of the phones would be wood grain as well, but only where the answering machine, the little box itself, has it on there. So I saved all of my children's phone numbers on here, and I call each and every one of them to say this is my landline. Technically, even though it's not a landline, this is my landline. After 6 o'clock on weekdays, call me on this. Don't call me on the cell phone. And on weekends, call me on this phone first. If I'm out and about, I'm still going to have my cell phone with me, but it's just a way for me to be able to detach from my cell phone and keep it on a table. And then at night, I actually leave my cell phone in the living room, and I take one of the cordless phones and I put them in the hallway, to where if I'm getting a phone call at 2 in the morning on this, and it most likely is going to be an emergency, and it's going to be one of my kids calling me, which is the only people who should be calling me at that time, unless it's just a random wrong number, right? So that has definitely helped. I've been doing this now for about 3 weeks, and that's what has helped the numbers that I just screenshotted from Sunday to go down, because I'm just not on my phone that often. So you have your calendar. Then what did I do? I went and I got myself some envelopes, and I've already had a checkbook and I haven't used it in a long time. And obviously to send letters or bills, you have to have stamps. And so I went to the post office, and these are forever stamps, but these are Dungeons and Dragons, which are really cool. They make some Betty White ones, but my post office was sold out of them. And I can order them online, but for the sake of a timely video, I went ahead and bought the ones that my post office had available, which is still pretty kick-ass, Dungeons and Dragons. So why am I going to do that? Am I going to be mailing letters out all the time? There's a few people I might mail some letters out to just to say hi. But it's for bills. Back in the day, we used to have to take a checkbook and fill it out and pop it in an envelope and send off our bills. Now, paying online is convenient, but what comes along with that? Think about back in the day, we were always told, well, this new thing where we can pay online, it's so much safer because a thief can steal the check out of your mailbox and steal your identity and do all this type of stuff, which back then was true. People can steal it. It was a lot easier to cash checks back in the day before proper ID usage and two-step authentication, I think is how you say it. And so it made it easier for people to do that. And then, of course, it could just get lost in the mail, right? So I'm still a little up in the air as to sending a credit card. I only have a couple credit card payments, and so if I were to do it, I would have to mail it out. You have to mail them out in advance and then put on there. I think you have to put on the memo line, cash check, look at date or whatever. That way they don't get the check and they cash it early. Not that I would be floating a check out in the first place. But the credit card is what can not necessarily hurt your credit, but if it's late and post late, then they immediately by the next day jack your interest rate up. On a fixed loan, they don't do that. So on some fixed debt, it's easy to send a check in the mail. If it shows up a day or two late because of the post office, then it's not really going to affect you. So there are a few things that I'm going to be sending through the mail on that. But nowadays in 2025, it's actually safer to send it through the mail. I wouldn't put it in my mailbox and put the little red flag up. I would actually take it to my local post office and drop it off just to make sure there's no thievery between that. But think about now, there's a whole new industry of cybersecurity to help monitor people's online presence, because identity's getting stolen all the time. Computers are getting hacked, and we basically, to the right hacker, we've made it very easy for them to go in and steal your identity because everything is done online now. And in my opinion, times have shifted to where it's so much easier now to send something through the mail to get it paid. Simpler in the sense that somebody stealing your identity is going to be not impossible, but a lot harder than it is for somebody to steal your checking and savings and credit card information online. The other thing that I'm going to be doing more of, which my wife has always done this because she was in the service industry, restaurant industry for years, is always carrying cash around to pay for groceries, pay for gasoline. Again, it's simple to swipe that card at the pump, but I have myself twice had one of those fake readers in there, and then I get an alert from my bank. Hey, somebody's trying to buy some pizza at Godfather's in Dallas, Texas. Is that you? No. Cool that you get the alert, right? But you wouldn't have that problem if you had just paid cash. Plus, Big Brother doesn't necessarily know what you're buying when you're at the grocery store like they do when you swipe your card, and everything's done digitally that way. So it's all about that footprint. So you can look at it a lot of different ways to have privacy and more security, or you can just look at it as these are some of the things that we need to do in order to get off of our cell phones a lot more. And then the other thing that you saw me throw down is this. It's the old Rolodex. I was explaining this to Roth, and I was just like, isn't that cool? You pick the letter there, and then you pop it open, and then you have the name and number of the person you're trying to get a hold of written in there. He just thought it was the coolest thing. He's like, that's actually really cool. And I think we all had these growing up. Again, I found this at the thrift store some time ago, and it's more of a prop. But now that I've got the digital phone, I'm definitely going to do that, including some of the close friends that I've made here on YouTube that have my number and I have theirs. It's going to go in here. So that's another way. So you have your contacts on your cell phone, and if you lose your phone and it's not backed up to the cloud, then you lose the numbers. I don't back my stuff up to the cloud. I just don't. And so it'd be nice to have stuff written down. So you have your contacts on a phone, you have paying your bills on a phone, and you have everything that you daily on your phone. So convenient, but that convenience comes with a price nowadays to people being addicted to their phones, doom scrolling on their phones. And it's just something, like I said, that in last week's video, that I'm trying to simplify my life. And to some of you guys, you might think that that is not simplifying your life at all. To me, I think it is. I think it's going to make a difference. It already has in the last few weeks with me using my phone. As you can see on my screen time, it's been cut down substantially. And my friend Glenn over at Challenge Jackson, he did a video, which I'll put the thumbnail here and a link in the description. He did a thing about how to stay off your cell phone, some ways that you can reflect on not using your cell phone. Because guys, I think it's a mental health issue nowadays with everybody that's on their phone, especially when I see 2 or 3 year olds holding a cell phone or an iPad. It really, really just pisses me off. I did a video before about iPad kids that none of y'all watched, but I did the video nonetheless. And that, to me, at some point, I think that's just child abuse. Parents don't want to deal with a crying baby when they're at a restaurant, so they give them an iPad. They give them a cell phone. When my 3 kids acted up, they learned let's go to the bathroom or let's go to the car meant, and they stopped it real quick, and never had any issues like that, and sure as hell didn't have a cell phone or an iPad in their hand. My 2 youngest, my middle child, my daughter, and my son, didn't get a cell phone until they were in 6th grade, which I still think that was a little too early, but the old ex-wife overruled me on that. But the one thing that she did support me on is we got them flip phones and not smartphones. So it was to make phone calls and to send text with that one text method with the, I know what y'all know what it's called, but I forget what it's called. So they weren't smartphones. Wasn't easy to send a text. If they needed to get a hold of us, they called us, and we were there to answer for them. So what do you guys think? You looking at ways to reduce your cell phone time? I'm not saying go get a dumb phone. It's just called willpower. You need to not be on your phone that often. And so I'm just doing things to simplify, and it's a little nostalgia, right? I'm not happy, as I said in the video, like there's a lot of crap going on in today's world, and you look back in the past to see how things were done, and you take comfort in that. And so there is a little bit more work that's involved in this, but nowadays I just think it's less stressful. I get pings all the time that, especially with Yahoo, that my email has been found on the black market. My social security number was one of those ones that were breached in that massive data breach that took place earlier this year. But because I have Aura, they sent me a text message immediately. and I had to freeze, still to this day, all 3 of my credit reports. So nobody can steal my credit or open up a line of credit in my name. You wouldn't have had to deal with that, honestly, I think in 2025, if somebody stole a check out of the mail and tried to cash it. They weren't going to cash it, number one. But number two, the fraud alert would come through and just shut it down. They're not going to go and have a credit card opened in your name and draw a $30,000 balance on it because they stole a check from the mail. So things are different than the way they were before. And so in the beginning, when online payments came out, we can understand why that was a great thing, but nowadays, not so much. And again, guys, drop a comment and let me know your thoughts. And just got to throw a shout out to, supporting the channel, like, subscribe, share the video out. Ways that you can help support the channel is subscribing. Number one is the greatest thing. Watching the video through to get that watch time. Buy a totally rad candle from me. That definitely supports the channel. I know Glenn, even though he lives all the way in England, bought a candle, and it's going out that way via somebody else that he knows in the States. So I'm not shipping to Europe yet. Those of you that have bought one from me before, it's time to reorder, don't you think? Also, I do have memberships. That's one thing that I don't really push that much. First membership is as cheap as $4.99, and that's the bitchin' level. And then, of course, for $9.99, you have the totally rad level. And I have 2 members. Chad, thank you. And Brandon, of course, thank you always. And would really appreciate the support there. And, of course, my affiliate links with freestyle watches and, of course, members-only clothing. And with that said, again, like, subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.